How do? Lovely day again in West Yorkshire. Wet and miserable. Okay guys, I'm going to talk about kids in care. As some of you know, I did that job for a short while. I enjoyed it, extremely rewarding. There were a lot of politics involved. Like every job where you care for people, police, prison officer, carer, nurse, there's going to be people you come across who are in the wrong job. That's an unfortunate side of life. You know, you maybe get a third who are a good job and care, a third who are okay, and a third who shouldn't be in the job. Who knows? But you know, we can't pick and choose. The care industry itself is on its arse and needs people to go and work in it. So let me tell you, a typical day in a kids' care home, they will be different. The shifts and rewards system are all pretty similar. So the job I worked in, it was 10 a.m. while 10 a.m. So you would start on shift 10 a.m. in the home I was in. The kids used to do school till early afternoon. So they may be in school from say 10 o'clock while 1, something like that. One of the lads who was 15, 16 was in mainstream school. The age group of the kids we had in our care was 7 to 16 at that time. I believe it's not still not a little still not a lot different. Come on. Right, still not a lot different. Yeah, 16, you're pretty much on your arse. The lad we are, Matt, boom, gone, out. Thank you very much. A lot of the kids have some sort of family contact still. Some not so much. You've got varying degrees of, how shall we say, educationally, massively different needs. Some come from decent homes, some not so much. A massive variation of kids. You know, we had 6 in that home, 2 staff on shift, boy, girl, 3 lots of that, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. I went as a relief worker, so basically if someone had a day off, someone was sick, I'd stand in. Obviously if I was standing in and a lass was off, it was boy, boy. Sometimes, needs must, it was girl, girl, but that's how it were. 2 staff on shift, 6 kids. 1 or 2 of them kids could be very challenging at times. So what's it about? So like I said, we start at 10 o'clock in the morning. Bit of education. If I'd gone on shift, I'd take responsibility for dinner, so I used to shop as well. As much as I could, I'd shop. A lot of the staff didn't like shopping. We had a bill or a budget of up to about 300 quid. So that's 6 kids, 2 adults every day. There were 3 staff upstairs. The lass who owned the home, her manager, who was Monday to Friday, she was Monday to Friday, and like a secretary, and like I said, 2 staff on shift. About 300 quid. I enjoy shopping. I've always been a good shopper. I'm not a typical man. You know, I will have a look about and plan meals. For instance, if I was on a Sunday, they had a full Sunday dinner, might have beef, pork, whatever, homemade Yorkshire puddings, a lot, all 9 yards. There was one couple, boy, girl, if they were on shift and they did the shopping, everything was budget, smart price. I'm not knocking that, but you were in charge of what you were buying. They would spend as little as possible, and I did hear them both talking about, you know, why should they have this, why should they have that. Like I said, a budget was 300, I'd spend 300. Upstairs staff were all right, they'd have quality stuff. The kids were always fed well, you know, cooked. 2 couples out of the 3, exactly the same. Jason and Jill, Chris, and I always forget the other lass's name. They cooked. You know, they had proper meals. The kids were well looked after. The other 2, they were just dogs. Absolute dogs. But, you know, you had no choice. That was it. That's how it was. So, yeah, dinner time, Monday to Friday. They do the bit of education. The guy who used to tech him, if he ever sees this, Waleed, top lad, yeah. You might think he's only looking after 6 kids. Very, very challenging, different age groups, different abilities, massively different. We had one lad who was 12 who, I don't know, his IQ must have been massive. That in itself was problematic, keeping him entertained, etc. So yeah, dinner, I'd make some sandwiches, sometimes open sandwiches, egg mayo, that sort of thing. Nice sandwiches, might make a potato salad, you know, bowl of crisps, little buffet. Yeah, the 2 dogs, the cheapest ham they could buy, cheapest bread they could buy. There you go, crack on. Used to make me sick, but again, you can't pick and choose. But that's how it was. Afternoon, sometimes in the afternoon, there would be an activity. Depends what day it was. Usually, you know, if it was a miserable day like today, you might be in the house, might watch a film. You do what you can. I'd get the kids out as much as you can. They had a big garden in the home. It was a private home. Evenings, again, sometimes there'd be activities. Maybe one day in the week, you might go bowling. Now, here's the thing. If a couple of kids have been misbehaving, they might not be going bowling. So maybe if I was on with a lass or a lad, they would take 3 bowling and I'd have the other 3 at home. That sort of thing. The kids used to have jobs at dinner. There was 6 jobs and 6 jobs at tea time. They used to get paid, I don't know, 20, 30 pence a job. Might be loading the dishwasher. 60p a day, might have been 70p a day. They could earn pocket money. They also got an allowance. I can't remember what that was. Maybe a tenner a week pocket money. You know, what they could spend on pretty much what they wanted. Yeah, get them out as much as possible if weather was good. You know, some of the staff were happy just to stay at home. Some of the kids didn't want to go out. I would be out and about as much as I could with 3 kids. But we tried to keep all 6 together and do as much as we could. Saturdays might be cinema. You know, they could spend the pocket money, pick and mix, that sort of thing. It was good. And it was just about entertaining them. I found the best way to entertain them was give you time and attention. You know, show them a bit of care and that. They loved it. One of the lads, I'm hoping to get in the van. He messaged me just recently. He was about 2004, 2005. He was 10, 11 years old. Kieran, if you see this. He messaged me recently. I have mentioned this before. Just thanking me for looking after him, you know, and caring, which was lovely. And like I've said, guys, you don't know what effect you're having on people, but for a lad who was 10, 11 at the time to message me 17 years later and thank me, yeah, of course, it gives you a boost. And, you know, it shows that, you know, bit of care, treating people right and that, it can affect their lives. So hopefully we'll be having a chat with him. Took him out one day, him, Chris and Rob. Chris were winding Kieran up. He was a bit older. There was like a spare piece of land, big piece of land. Used to go climbing trees and stuff like that, out and about, all boys together. Anyway, he got a bit wound up, Kieran. He got hold of a stone about the size of a cricket ball and he wanged it at Chris. I was stood about 5 meters away. It hit me straight inside the head. Took my head right off. Of course I was angry. I didn't attack him or anything like that. We're just like, right, we're going back home. So when I got back home, there's a lump, and I mean a lump. I calmed down with them. The manager said, you know, have you done that? I said, what happened? She said, I want you to report him. I want you to phone the police. I said, what for? I want him placed on report. I want him charging. It's assault. Okay, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. It was an accident. Dangerous thing to do. We've all done that as kids. Stupid things and stuff like that. That was just one day. So, yeah, it was all about entertaining them. Tea time, you know, usual. Do something in the afternoon, some sort of activity, tea time, something at night. It weren't an activity every day, maybe 2 activities a week, something like that. Parks, things like that. Bears Country Park. It was in Bury, this home. Tottingham. I think that's how you say it. Bears Country Park. They used to love going there, 10 minutes away. We had a minibus. There was a canal, taking fishing. A couple of them loved fishing. I'd take them fishing, that sort of thing. You know, get them out and about. If you're in the house, just entertain them. Part of the job was laundry. If I were on shift, again, we had an industrial size washing machine and dryer. Quite happy, me, to do all the washing. The 2 dogs never did nothing. You know, if I was on shift with one of the other staff who were amazing, the 2 dogs were on. The following shift, you might come on at the weekend, nothing will have been done at all, nothing. Because you had to keep the house clean. This was the home, that was part of your job. Like I said, quite happy to do all the washing. You know, you put it on dryers, fold it up, the kids would take it back to the rooms. Try to create some sort of independence. They all had individual rooms, usual stuff, kids' rooms, posters up, things like that. Some of them had PlayStations. A lot of stuff like that was provided by their carers, guardians, parents on the out, you know, that sort of thing. Like I said, most of them still had some sort of contact. So you're getting an idea now. You're 24 hours, you'll be feeding them at dinner, cooking something at tea if you're on. Not always, sometimes cold meal. Takeaways. Fridays, maybe Saturday, they might have a takeaway. It might be chippy, you know, something like that. If, I didn't agree with this, really, not with kids. If one of them misbehaved during the day, then they didn't get takeaway. I felt that was quite punitive and that. So we had a lad called Rob. He quite often misbehaved. If he'd been misbehaving, then he was knocked off the takeaway list. So 5 of them might have pizza. Rob would have to get something from the house. There were 1 or 2 of the staff. If I was on with them, he would get takeaway, you know. And why not? The kids at the end of the day, you know, they misbehave. Rob had a bit of a dog childhood, and, you know, you can't do a job like that without having empathy, even though we got a pair that had gotten on. Incidentally, that pair, when I talk about him, he ended up going out with a manager. Yeah, so he got away with a lot. He got no empathy, understanding. Some of the kids he blatantly hated. He showed favouritism. And like I say, he was lazy. Her had her own kids, but hated them kids. Absolutely hated them. You know, begrudged them everything. I absolutely hated them too. Anyway, we're getting a picture. Like I say, I'm backwards and forwards, I know. So Monday to Friday, you'd go on shift, bit of schooling, maybe a packed lunch, buffet lunch, do what you could in the afternoon, tea time, and then night time. Usually, I can't remember whether they had different bedtimes. I think they did. I think the younger ones went a bit early. The older ones were given a bit more leeway. There was an alarm on the landing that used to switch on at night, so if they come out of the bedrooms, you were aware of that. And it was called it was a sleeping night. 11 while 7 you didn't get paid, so you would get paid 16 hours for a shift, and sleeping night you didn't get paid. If the alarm went off at night, you're expected to make sure, you know, they went to the bathroom or whatever, they weren't up to no good. I enjoyed the job. Very difficult to get people into that profession, because the jobs, if you've got a family working 24 hours, you know, it is very difficult. But most care homes, in care, social services, this type of thing, it's them sort of shifts. But it can be very, very rewarding, and they need people. Tough gig. But I enjoyed it. I'd applied for Strangeways. I very nearly didn't go during this time in the kids' home because, you know, I absolutely loved it. However, I had a feeling that something, you know, was not quite right, and I don't know, within 12 months of me starting at Strangeways, the home was gone, the manager sold it. You know, it was a business to her, which is fair enough. You can't knock people for that. She bought a house, invested in that. The rewards a private home, yeah, you have overheads, you have staff to pay and that, but I think them kids, whichever authority they came from, for instance, 2 were from Sheffield, so Sheffield Council paid that home £2 a week each for them kids, £8 a month to be kept in private care. It's a lot of money. They did try and get kids into foster care. It's obviously cheaper. One of the lads who had been abused by his dad and his dad's brother, he still had contact with his dad. You couldn't leave him with his dad. You had to be there. You know, I never understood that. He had some contact with his mum as well. He went to a family to be fostered in Hull. The family were amazing. They lived on an estate in Hull, got a bit of a reputation, you know, quite rough. They'd fostered loads of kids, maybe 40 kids. Their own kids were like young adults in the 20s and stuff like that. Amazing family, they really did care. That lad had got a lot of issues, sexualised behaviour, smoking, drinking, you know, lots of stuff going on. So respect to all those people who are in care, who look after kids, who have empathy and understanding and try and do their bit. There is some politics involved. I'm not hitting on social workers. I can only give examples of what I came across. One lass, social worker, she was involved in getting this young lad to this family in Hull. The first time I went, I took him up, we met the family. Second time, she took us in her car. He was 11, he got all these problems, sexualised behaviour and the like, smoking, stuff like that, problematic, being in trouble with the police, running away from home. She bought him a dot-to-dot book and some crayons, age 6, yeah, for his entertainment on the way. She insisted I sat in the back of the car because she didn't trust him. So me and him sat in the back of the car. He didn't like this woman straight away. She talked to me when she was talking to him. She didn't talk directly to him. Her communication skills were crap. Driving a poxy Toyota to Hull from Manchester in the pouring rain on the motorway, about 2 hours it took. She had her air conditioning on circulate in the car. The windows were steamed up, yeah. She couldn't see, she's wiping the screen to try and see. So I says to her, if you look at your heater controls, your air conditioning, there's a lever. At the minute you are circulating air, 3 of us in the car, that's why it's steaming up. If you move that lever across, it'll clear. Boom, in one ear, out the other. When we got to the other end, extremely rude to the family. This is a family who've looked after 40 kids, you know, managed 40 kids. A lot of these kids are still in touch with them. They were amazing people. You could tell they absolutely oozed empathy, warmth, love. Yeah, they were amazing. She was rude. She says to me, I need to chat, we need to discuss things, you need to go and do something for 2 hours. So she's taken me up in her car. She wanted me out of the house for 2 hours. The fella's son, he said, I'll take you to the pictures. Do you want to go to the pictures? So he took me to a cinema, 15 minutes away. He says, I'll pick you up. He didn't come in with me. So I went to the cinema, got back, Drove back to Manchester, steamed up, wiping the window, you know. So there's that aspect of kids in care to look after. But I did find it very rewarding. I did enjoy it. It's something I could have done forever. Now, you know, with our last daughter, the shifts won't be practical. They're not for a lot of people. But I would encourage people, you know, if you love kids, if you got that empathy understanding, you want to care for them, get into that job. You know, it needs a balance. That home, don't let me get it wrong, the two dogs, you know, used to cause mayhem. One or two of the kids they just hated, so they would maybe look after four. The other two kicked a touch. But it needs a balance. The other four were amazing people. You know, they really did care. So kids need that. And you can make an impression on them. I know that. Kieran got in touch. You can make an impression on them. Right, I've waffled on, guys. I hope this all makes sense. Consider it. You know, if you can afford to work them shifts, you know, consider going into care. The care industry overall, dementia, care homes, kids, the lot, it's on its ass. A little word about prison officers, prison service, anyone watching this. Still continue to get messages. I'm going to be phoning a guy after this, just giving him a bit of advice, which isn't, don't do it. Not at all. I've never said that to anyone. I get pretty much one message a day from people considering the job, going into the job. I've read my book, finished training, and those people message me from time to time, letting me know how they're getting on. So I'm doing the prison service, no damage whatsoever. A lad has just gone in, very typical message. He says, watch your vlog, Sam. I've read your book. I know exactly what to expect. I'm going in. I like the way you just tell it as it is. Carry on doing what you're doing. All right, guys. Let's hope we get some summer. I know a lot of people I've been talking to. I'm not getting messages back anymore. It's getting a bit busier. The world's going back to normal almost. So, you know, look after each other. Let's look forward to a summer. That's about it. Thanks for coming. I'll see you there. Cheers.